Okay, wonderful. My talk will follow very nicely after Mark Sherman's. My presentation is called To Live in Your Truth, and my only conflict to disclose is I'm coming off a post-viral cough, so I will try not to cough into the mic. As mentioned, I'm a general adult psychiatrist. I practice in acute inpatient care. I offer shared care through Thompson, Nicola, Caribou, Kootenays, and my passion is teaching patients how to heal themselves through teaching mindfulness and psychotherapy groups. Department head of psychiatry, vice president of our MSA at Royal Inland Hospital, and I also sit on the board of the BC Psych Association. I love to teach. I think I saw some of my students here today earlier. So I work with both psychiatry, family practice, and the medical student programs. And I love meditation and mindfulness. It has been a hobby and a life-saving mechanism for me, and I'll get into that. So I will ask you, what is your reason? What was your initial reason why you decided to pursue a career in healthcare? Can you visualize and perhaps even close your eyes, bring yourself back to that very moment? The exact moment you found out you were going to be a physician, a nurse practitioner, a nurse. And looking back now, can you link a deeper self-value with your now wiser, older mind back to that initial reason? My story, this is the day of my white coat ceremony at Ottawa University. I had wanted to be a doctor since I was 15. I had a love of biology, and studying textbooks was fun for me, self-proclaimed nerd. I wanted to know that I could be a physician because it was such a deep passion to learn and study. When I got into medicine, it was arguably one of the happiest days of my life. And I knew that this was a career I wanted to practice for the long term. Into my medicine journey, things, however, started to shift. I stopped finding passion and joy in studying. I had trouble sleeping. I couldn't concentrate. Thoughts started to circulate that started to attack how I saw myself and my self-worth. It wasn't until there were days I started to wake up and I wished I wasn't alive. I'm sure we can all, as physicians, identify this diagnosis. But back then, I didn't have the education or awareness to recognize what was going on. And I didn't have the courage to ask for help. Because of the cultural narrative, I didn't think that I could speak up. I was afraid. I had a sense of shame. And because of that, for years, I chose to suffer in silence. But it turns out, when I was feeling like the only person in medicine to feel that way, I actually wasn't. Mark Sherman highlighted some of these statistics. The Canadian Medical Association did a National Physician Health Survey, and what they found was that 48% of physicians screened positive for depression. Greater than 1/3 had thoughts of suicide in their lives, and 21% identified the risk of losing a medical license or being unable to practice as a factor in whether or not to seek support. Could it be just COVID causing these statistics? And when we did a deeper dive, it wasn't. These statistics were being found in different parts of the world even before COVID came to light. In 2023, the Academy of Medical Colleges came forth and created a very strong statement. 4 physicians came forward. They came literally out of the shadows. They said doctors face a high rate of mental health challenges, but they often hide their stories due to shame and fear of professional fallout. Dr. Kirch identified that stigma can cost lives, and sharing our personal struggles can help save them. Dr. Cunningham stated, "This is terrifying." She was recognized in front of all her peers, and she said, "I know that giving this address today will change my career path. There will be people who will see me as weak, emotional, and damaged." But she added through her tears, "If one can prevent, or if I can prevent one of you from dying by suicide or suffering alone, it will be worth it." Dr. Veal identified the need to embrace a new vision. So I'm going to sit with that. What does that mean? CMA highlighted a very similar plea to our culture. Advocating for physicians and making meaningful changes in the culture of medicine was deemed by them to be a shared responsibility. And we know this is very common to other populations. In first responders, war veterans, talking about mental health has been occurring and increasing over decades. We know that celebrities have come out in droves surrounding their mental health, and with Bell Let's Talk campaign, we know societally mental health is becoming destigmatized. Why are physicians so behind? Our so-called professional training merely repeated and falsely professionalized our previous cultural education. Where does this come from? I could dedicate a whole lecture to the history of medicine, so I won't do that. But I want to recognize this one statement: physician, heal thyself. This is very historical, dating back to Greek texts, Jewish literature, and famous in the Bible. Historically, it highlights the responsibility of caregivers to practice self-care. So arguably, the question I implore on all of you today: is it time to change our cultural narrative? Or is it time to change back our cultural narrative? Before we can really highlight this, I want to highlight 3 points surrounding what it means to be arguably a human. The first, health. It includes both mental and physical health. We're recognizing that concept with newer literature and research, arguably treating the human as a whole entity. We know that the mind experiences the body and the body experiences the mind, and we know that they have this interconnectedness. Mental health is on a spectrum. We recognize that very easily with physical health. There are times we're excelling, we're thriving, and other times, perhaps in a broken leg or a major physical injury, we're in crisis. Mental health is no different. And the old experience and the old culture is that mental health equaled mental illness, and we know that's just not true. And that mental health is normal. Don't we all have a lived experience? As physicians, we're trained to pathologize. We're trained to identify, recognize, and diagnose. But what about the normal lived experience as part of the human condition? We're all diverse. We all come from something. What we're really referring to here is the experience of common humanity. We've all experienced, we've all suffered. We all feel, we all think, we all are here in the same journey. When we entered into medical school, we took the Hippocratic Oath. We recognized and made the commitment to our patients to treat them with dignity, respect, compassion, and empathy. Don't we as physicians deserve the same unto ourselves? The physician who heals has not a heart of stone. From bricks and mortar, their body isn't made. Like you, they are as much flesh, blood, and bone, and suffers from much stress and is ill paid. Sometimes their best of knowledge can't help them. Their decisions are fraught with blunders too. They wage battles to save lives so grim. When life has left body, what can they do? They face many ethical questions. Sometimes things go awry, unexpected. Don't blame them squarely for all kinds of sins. They are a public figure respected. When people ask me why I'm standing in front of you talking about my own lived experience, arguably some of the darkest times of my life, it really came down to two reasons: that of courage and change. It takes all of us to make the change. I recognize, and we recognize, that there is an immense need for normalization of our experiences. We know that by doing these efforts and making a collective change in how we view our culture in medicine, of health and mental health, that it can allow physicians to access help without fear or shame. And we know that early access leads to better outcomes. But what I really want to highlight here is not just the ability to normalize, it's to empower. Don't we all have a lived experience? Aren't we all diverse, coming from different walks of life? And can you find that area within yourself to bring forth your story? Why is this important? It highlights the concept of humanity. When you can show up in a space of a shared yet unspoken lived experience, you become more than a doctor. You become a human. Our patients want to work with humans. I asked you all to think, what was your initial reason you decided to pursue a career in healthcare? I asked you to link it to a deeper self-value. Are you practicing this value? In all the talks we've heard today, there have been a common theme of finding that purpose, that joy, and that meaning in medicine. Are there opportunities for you to bring back that value? Are you a healer? Did you go into medicine to care, diagnose, study, teach, improve, advocate? What is your reason? Whether the reason has been lost, or maybe it's just been quietly pushed to the side, there are opportunities to sprinkle that reason into your daily practice. Perhaps it is advocacy. Perhaps it's finding aspects of yourself and that truth. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak today and humbly sharing my truth with you and my purpose and my meaning. Thank you.